NBA season officially started this weekend, and what a weekend it was. From a half a dozen storylines this morning. Can't wait to get to it.
Thanks, Colin. Time for our final topic of the day. Blake Bortles just got paid. He signed a 3-year extension with the Jags for $54 million and over $26 million guaranteed, according to Adam Schefter. Bortles helped lead the Jags to the AFC title game, but since he entered the league 4 seasons ago, he's thrown the most interceptions. Shannon, are you surprised by this deal?
I'm a little surprised by it, Skip. I know he had wrist surgery, and if he wasn't able to pass a physical on the league New Year, which is March 14th, that $19 million would have been guaranteed. So this lowers his cap hit. But what it tells me is that they feel that they can surround him with enough talent, and he can do for them what Nick Foles did for the Eagles.
Yeah.
But you told me everything I needed to know about him in the AFC Championship game. With 55 seconds and 2 timeouts, you took a knee. Every time Nick Foles was in that situation, Doug Peterson gave him the green light, and he went down the field, got a field goal in one instance, and got a touchdown in the other. So
did Jacksonville stay in that game to the bitter end against Tom Brady?
And what cost him?
I did.
What cost him? His inability to make plays when it mattered the most.
Really?
Yeah.
He threw for almost 300 yards in that game, a touchdown and no interceptions.
Nick Foles threw for almost 400 yards, 3 touchdowns.
And by the way, Blake Bortles had a QBR of 90 at Pittsburgh in the divisional round playoff game. That was pretty good, which means Jacksonville made the absolute right choice because for them, Blake Bortles will be a little better than Kirk Cousins could ever be, and Blake Bortles came much cheaper than Kirk Cousins would have come.
Well, I know they're going to try and re-sign Allen Robinson. Like I said, they believe, because if you look at defense, Jacksonville's defense is better than Philly. If you look at it man for man, player for player, Skip.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Now, offensively, leaves a lot to be desired.
I don't know. Fournette's pretty good.
Well, what you going to do with Ernst? What you going to do with them tight ends and Alshon and Torrey?
I mean,
so they get Robinson back. So this is what they're saying. We believe we got enough talent here. We can win a Super Bowl with Blake Bortles. But Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan like,
more attitude on their defense. That's it for us. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern. Right now, Colin Cowherd tells you what Russell Westbrook is missing. The Herd starts now.
Me, the bust Zaja and the chops.
This is The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. Christine Leahy joining me on a Monday where the NBA season, to me, felt like it sort of started this weekend. First half of the regular season, especially the good veteran teams, don't give a rip. Then you have a trading deadline. Then you move into the second half of the season. And this is where veteran teams, they won't play hard every night in the second half, but they'll pick their spots. They'll play hard in the playoffs. But it was a really good weekend of NBA basketball, and there's a ton of storylines.
Controversy.
A little controversy on several stages. So let me start with this. We romanticize a lot of things. We couldn't handle it. We're too soft now. Society's way too soft. I mean, like, you ever see that show Mad Men? Smoking and drinking in the office? Oh, God, if somebody lit up some gin, there'd be a line 2 miles long, HR's office. You couldn't handle that. If somebody next to you opened up a bottle of alcohol and you sniffed it for a second, you'd complain to all the bosses. But we love to romanticize shows like that. We love to romanticize the old NBA. Michael Jordan drove the lane and the Pistons knocked him on his arse. We do 30s for those. Bill Laimbeer went right after Magic Johnson. Let's make a documentary. Awesome, baby. We love the old NBA, the 80s, 70s, and the 80s, and the 90s. And guys were tough. Oh, but this weekend, Russell Westbrook was playing, and a member of the Warriors fell on his leg. Didn't actually hurt him, but after the game, Russell Westbrook, the MVP, was absolutely furious. Here's Mr. Triple-Double afterwards.
What do you mean what happened? What do you think what happened?
Sure.
I don't know. I couldn't see. Don't lie. Don't lie. You couldn't see it. You saw the instant replay 4 times. What happened?
You fell on your leg.
Thank you. Don't ask me a dumb question you know the answer to.
You think it was intentional?
Did you see it? What it look like? What it look like? Did anybody touch him? Yes or no?
I didn't see the replay yet.
Oh, you didn't see it? But why you asking about something you didn't see?
I just saw the play
then,
live.
Well, then if you didn't see it, don't ask me a question. Don't ask me dumb question. Obviously, it was intentional. So ask me, was it intentional? Nobody touched me, fell over my leg, try to hurt me, you know. But hey, that's how I go.
And I don't have any problem with it. Because in the NBA I grew up with, if a little guy came down the lane, brother, there was a price to pay. This is by the rims where the big fellas hang out. I think there's room in the NBA for Draymond Green, Matt Barnes, Zaza Pachulia. This is where the 7-footers hang out and the tough guys. Every great dynasty's had a bouncer. So is every popular nightclub. And the Warriors have the best nightclub in the league. And they've got a handful of bouncers. Just like great hockey teams have at least one to protect their star. We live in an NBA now where you can't hand check, meaning every point guard can get to the lane and to the basket at will, and you can't touch him. And so a less skilled big guy kind of fell on him. It was intentional, Colin, as was every Bill Laimbeer foul that we made documentaries about. What NBA do you want? The one where 390 guys all wear skinny jeans and can hit threes? Or do you want an NBA, and do you want sports that has sometimes slightly less skilled guys who are enforcers, who protect stars, who make a point that if you drive the lane and humiliate them, you won't do it a second time? I want pitchers who throw tight. I want football safeties and linebackers who at the bottom of a pile make you remember them. If you want an NBA with 419 Steph Currys, knock yourself out. But we make documentaries about the 70s and 80s NBA. And 70s and 80s NBA, that was 4 times a night. You call my show when I say LeBron's the greatest of all time, and you say he didn't have to deal with what Jordan had to deal with. Jordan had to deal with forearms and defense. Oh, so you like it. You're acknowledging that it was a great part of the tapestry of the league and that Jordan's tougher because he could handle it. Can you imagine the 1988 even talking about an MVP who had a big guy who fell on him and he didn't get hurt? Come on now. What NBA do you want? If Russell Westbrook's the MVP, and in the league you can't check anybody, you can't hand check anybody, and he can get to the basket anytime he wants, you don't think guys in this league, bigs, who are being completely marginalized, don't have a right to make a point? We've eliminated centers. We've eliminated power forwards. If you can't pop a three like Julius Randle of the Lakers, you're worthless. Well, guess what? In my NBA, Julius Randle has a roster spot. And so does Draymond Green and Zaza Pachulia and Matt Barnes. I like an NBA that's got more than one guy. Westbrook, did he do it intentionally? You know what I would have said if I was a reporter? Yeah. It's a 30 for 30. It's called the Pacers and Knicks series. Got a problem with it? Why let him intimidate you as a reporter? So what? A big fell on him. God, that's really a story. That's really a story. We have become so soft that the stuff we brag about the good old days, now we're deeply offended by it. I loved that moment. And by the way, the Warriors did exactly what they planned to do with this game. They got into Westbrook's head. And the next time he plays Golden State, he'll think twice about going unescorted to the basket. Golden State's the smartest team in this league. Owner, GM, maybe, coach, players, roster. This is what Laimbeer did. He got into Michael Jordan's head. This is what McHale did. He got into Michael Jordan's head. This is what teams did with Magic and Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. If you're going to come into the lane, okay, this is a big guy territory. And I've got absolutely no problem with it. Let me shift gears. We have a football topic. It is the NFL Combine this week. Dez Bryant did not have a very good year for the Dallas Cowboys. Had a lot of drops. He can no longer separate. I think he wears out Dak Prescott, and it was supposed to be a big year, right? Zeke got suspended, meaning they needed him. Jason Witten's old. They needed him. Backup running backs, they needed him. Left tackle got hurt. They needed him. He averaged 12 yards a catch, 54th in the NFL. Had 6 touchdowns, not even top 25. Less than 850 receiving yards and less than 70 catches. It should have been a great year for him, building that relationship with Dak. Instead, this weekend, he was interviewed, and he is all in. Dez is on Dez.
I'm ready to make my mark. I don't care about what nobody's talking about. I can care less. You know, everybody ain't with Dez Bryant. They can kiss my ass.
Oh, boy. Let me ask you something. Do you think when you complain in life matters? I do. If your wife just gave birth after 16 hours of labor, probably not the time to complain about how uncomfortable the chairs are in the waiting room. Worry about her. If your wife's all up all night, the baby's screaming and kicking, she's feeding it, she gets back into bed 3 in the morning after 4 hours of that, probably not the wrong time to complain. Hey, man, you woke me up. When you complain in life matters. Dude, you're owed $16.5 million salary and bonuses. That's about what the Jags just paid a quarterback. You had a lousy year. You really did. A lot of drops, pain in the you-know-what. Should have been your biggest year. You appear to be struggling to maintain a relationship with a really good kid in the future of the Cowboys, Dak Prescott. Now is not the time to go third person and insult members of the Cowboys, who certainly no longer need you. Here's one thing I know about Dez Bryant. As a wide receiver, he can no longer separate. It's time for the Cowboys to create some separation of their own and get rid of this clown. It's time to build the next great Cowboy team. Here's a guy off a bad year, and the rival in the division, the Eagles, just won a Super Bowl without Carson Wentz, and he's coming back. Should have been your biggest year. They owe you now almost $17 million in a salary cap league, which is about what the Jags are going to play on an annual basis, Blake Bortles, and you're telling people to kiss your you-know-what. Bye-bye. Time to move on. Coming up next, LeBron James is furious with the refs. Or is he actually upset about something far more important? I believe that's the case. That's coming up. Every day we come in here and we talk about the world of sports, but what we're really talking about is performance. We're talking about efficiency. We're talking about endurance. You should apply these measures to the products you buy, and that's why we rely on FilterBuy to maintain our home's HVAC system. It's America's leading provider of HVAC filters, homes and small businesses. They carry 600 different sizes, custom options, shipped free within 24 hours. Plus, they're manufactured in America, all of them. They offer a multitude of options, all the way up to hospital grade, removing dangerous pollens, mold, dust, and allergy-aggravating pollution, while maximizing the efficiency in your system. Right now, get 5% off if you set up auto delivery with FilterBuy. Save time and money and breathe better. That's filterbuy.com. Filterbuy.com.
Mexican spices? Nacho cheese sauce? They don't want these